I'm Scott, and Mukesh will be joining us in a moment once he gets mic'd up. So today we are going to be talking to you about workflows in Creator 5. Creator 5 is a platform that can do some amazing things with literally no code writing necessary on your end whatsoever. So we had forms collect data, right? Reports visually represent data in some way with tables or charts or whatever. We have pages, which are everything HTML, web pages, dashboards, whatever. And then we have mobile apps, which take all of these things that we're creating and then give them to our users on whatever device they might want to use them on. The important thing to remember is that we can do all of these things without any code whatsoever. We just drag, drop, click, and configure, and we're good to go. So workflows affect things that are largely static. So forms just kind of sit there and we can sort of interact with them, but they don't do all that much on their own. Workflows take these relatively static things and make them more useful and reactive to our users. They're working on the back end, connecting actions within our application. Workflows are a set of actions that are executed on some kind of event, and that could be either a user-generated action or a machine-driven action in some way. At their core, they consist of two things. We have a trigger and then an action, and it can be one action or a series of actions, but the important thing is it's always that if this, then that relationship between the two. The workflows in Creator 5 are powered by Deluge, which is Zoho's scripting language. Deluge is an abstraction of the database layer. So it is taking what for most people, myself included, would be very complicated database commands, and it's making them easier to do. Workflows are another level of simplification, of abstraction of those database commands. So making it easy to the point that I can do it on my own or anyone in this room can do it on their own. Deluge is a very powerful tool if you're a power user. If you're the sort of person who really digs deep into these things and wants to create very complicated workflows, you can do that in Deluge. But what we're going to be talking about today requires no code whatsoever. It's just click and configure. So this is an example of what a workflow will look like in Creator 5. So this particular example that we're looking at is a payment workflow. It's whether a bill is paid or unpaid. Now in that first box there, that is a series of actions that will be executed if a bill is paid. So if the bill status is paid, those actions will be executed. If the bill is unpaid, the second box will be what will be executed. Now if you want to add an action to your workflow, you are going to see this screen. So now let's take a look at these a bit more in depth. So we have notification actions. Notification actions are alerting our user or an admin or someone about something happening. So emails, SMSs, push notifications on your phone, things like that. Then we have field actions. Field actions are actions, unsurprisingly, related to fields in forms. So we can do things like hide or show forms or enable or disable them depending on a user's interaction with the form. We have data access forms, or actions. Data access actions either add, delete, or modify a record in some way. And so it could be the record that the user is specifically working on. It could be some other record in some way, but they affect records. And then we have interactions. So let's say that you use Zoho CRM and you get some new customer or new contact and you want to have their information automatically pushed to another service like Zoho CRM. We can have that happen. They can be pushed as a lead or a contact. We have, 5 integrations right now?
Yeah.
Mukesh?
Yeah.
So we currently have 5 integrations built into Creator 5, but we're going to be having more added as we go. And then the Deluge script that I talked about. So this action, you'd click it, and then you would put in your own custom code. Again, we're not going to be talking about that today. That's not really what we're worried about. So in Creator 5, we have 4 kinds of workflows. We have forms, schedules, approvals and payments. Workflows come in basically two flavors. They're either human triggered or machine triggered. So what I mean by that is we have forms. Form workflows are only triggered by an interaction with a form. So a form is loaded, it's submitted, or a field is interacted with in some way, but a user has to initiate those workflows. And we have schedule workflows. So schedule workflows are either set to go off at a static period of time every Monday. Let's say you send a newsletter every Monday to your mailing list, okay? That's always going to happen every Monday, and someone's going to have to step in and change that if we want that to change. But schedule workflows can also be set to relate to a date field. So for example, someone's subscription is going to end on the 30th of the month. We can set up a workflow that will send them a reminder email to warn them that their subscription is going to end next week or whatever. So that when it is set out, it's not static, it's related to whatever date is in that field that we're talking about. And then we have approval and payment workflows, okay? Approval and payment workflows are actually versions of form workflows, but they're used so often and they're so common that we just kind of spun them off into their own sections. They're similar in that they have a yes or no sort of relationship. So with approval workflows, it is a set of actions that will only be executed if a designated person approves them. So we could have a situation where an employee requests some vacation time and a manager is set to be able to approve or deny that. And one set of actions will happen if it's approved, one set of actions will happen if it's denied. Payments are similar, except money is involved in some way. So if a payment is successful, one set of actions. If their credit card is rejected for some reason, another set of actions will happen. Okay, so let's talk about form workflows. So like I said earlier, form workflows are workflows that are executed when some kind of interaction happens with a form. We have a lot of options here. We could have situations where information is autofilled. So if your website has a user that's already logged in, when they load a form, their basic info will already be filled in for them, saving them time and hassle. And we could also do things like show or hide fields. I guess a common example of this would be you are trying to pay for something and you choose your country, and then all of a sudden the state drop-down pops up or the province drop-down pops up. So whatever choice you make, that will affect what happens on the form next. We can also do things like push data. As I said earlier, we can push data to CRM. So someone fills in their form, they hit submit, and then that information is automatically pushed to Zoho CRM or to any of those other, anything else that you might be integrated with. Zoho Recruit is another example. So now Mukesh is going to take you through a demo of how to set up a form workflow.
Hello everyone. We'll be looking into workflows in Zoho Creator. So we'll be creating our first workflow today. And before getting into creating workflows, we have a pre-built application. We're going to look into an application of a university which runs online courses for its students. So we have a set of courses that will be listed online, and then students will register for the courses and subscribe for them. So we have, as to get directly into workflows, I have created the application with two of the forms already. I'll just access the live application, and I'll show you what are the forms that I've got. So we have got a courses form with the title of the course and the length span of the course. We have a start date for the course, and then we have the type. It can be either paid or a free course. And we're going to have a price for a fee for the course if it's going to be a paid course. So this is a courses form where all the courses will be entered in. So we have a list of courses already been added. So these are the set of courses. This is the report that has all the courses. For the students, we have a different form. So the students have a registration form where they can enter in their details and then pick the course from the courses form. So, and enter the fee, and then they register for the course. So these are a set of registrations that have already occurred. And I also have a report for students who have joined just this month. So for every month, this student report dynamically shows the data for the particular month of the students. So I'll just go back to the edit of this application. We are at the design interface of this application. So on the top bar, we have workflows tab, and this is going to be the place where we have all the workflows in for this particular application. So I go to workflow. We don't have any workflows for this application yet. So I'll just go ahead and create a first workflow. I click on create workflow. So these are the options Scott was speaking about. We have, when do you want to trigger your workflow? It's based on when the workflow needs to be triggered. It can either be while using the form or on a scheduled date. It can be during approval process or during payment process. What we'll be looking first is while using the form. So what we are going to do is in the live application, we have a field called type. It can be the course can either be a free course or a paid course. So if it's going to be free, we're not going to show the fees for it. So only if it's going to be a paid course, we're going to show the fees field. So I'll get back to the workflow. So I'm going to choose while using the form, and then the form that we are going to work on is going to be courses. And we are going to do this when it can be done when a record is being created or when a record is being edited, or both, or it can be written on when a record is being deleted. So I'll do it first when a record is being created. So let's name it fee type inputs. So I click on create workflow. So this is our workflow builder. So we have the workflow name here, and it says add an action that needs to be executed by an event in the form courses. There is a form while a record is being created. So I click on add new action, and I have this slider over here. These are the actions category. This is how the actions have been categorized in for our workflows. We have notification, we have field actions, data access, integration, and then deluge script. So for this action, we need to do field actions. So what I'm going to do is, on a condition when I'll just go ahead and hide the field. So I'll just go ahead and hide fees field. I click on save. So what you can see here is an action has been added, hide field fees. So let's get back to the live mode of the application and look what happened. I'm just reloading the form. As you can see, the form, the fees field has disappeared from here. So it shouldn't happen on just load. So what I have to do is I have to add a condition here. It should happen only when the type of the field is going to be a free course. So I select type, I select equals, and it's going to be free. So I save the criteria. So I get back to the live application, and then I reload the form. As you can see, the fees field is available here, and when I select paid, it's still available. When it's going to be free, in only this particular case, it's going to disappear. So this is how simple it is to configure interface action. So what we'll do next is, instead of hiding it completely, we'll just go ahead and disable the field, and then add a default value for it when it's going to be free. So I'll get back to the workflow builder in edit mode. And then I remove the hide fields. Sorry. Remove the hide fields. So I'm adding a new field, new action. In the action, it's going to be field actions again. And then I'm going to disable the field this time instead of hiding it. So I'm going to disable the fees field. Click on save. The field has been disabled. And I'm adding another action to it. This time it's going to be the field actions, and it's going to be set field value. I'm going to set an initial value for the field to be as 0. So the field is going to be fees field, and in case of it's going to be free, we're going to set it as 0. I click on save, and we have added both the actions, and I get back to the live application. And as you can see, since once I select it to be free, the field gets disabled. When it's paid, it's we are able to edit the field, then it's free. We're going to it's disabled, and then the field is value is set to 0. So this is what we have got with form workflows. You can also add other actions and explore the possibilities in form workflows. You can even write deluge script to it directly. So this will be an example for form workflows. So let's go back to Scott for our next type of workflow.
The next workflow that we're going to talk about are schedule workflows. I sort of started to talk about these before, but they are workflows that are triggered without any direct human interaction, okay? So it's an indirect thing. So you've signed up for something at some point, or you have filled in some form in some way, but you are not directly triggering it. It is a date-related trigger, okay? So we have examples like a weekly newsletter, like I had mentioned before. Every Monday, anyone on the mailing list will get that. We have things like monthly sales reports to your VP of sales. And then we have examples, like I said, with the date field. So when we have your subscription is about to end or your course is about to begin, a day before that or a few days before that, you can get a reminder to either resubscribe or to actually show up for the course. I used to be a teacher, so people absolutely don't show up for the course on the first day. I feel like we could have used some of those reminders at some point. So now Mukesh is going to go through a schedule workflow with us.
Thanks, Scott. So get back to the workflows tab. And from here, we have a separate tab for schedules. I click on schedules, and we have a create workflow button here. I just create a new schedule workflow. What we are going to do here in this current application now is we are going to send an email to the director of the university every month automatically with the list of students that have joined this month. So I get back to the create schedule. So this is our create schedule screen. And we have two options, specify date and time or choose a date field. Choosing a date field would be to set up, like what Scott has said already, to set up reminders or for your scheduled meetings. You can have scheduled meetings in a form, and you can have the scheduled meetings as a date field, and you can choose the date field, and then you'll get reminders before, or you can set up reminders before 2 days or 2 weeks, whichever is the use case that is required. For now, I'll go with specify date and time. I just create a schedule that's to be run on the 1st of June, and preferably by 10:10 a.m. And then it's going to be run monthly. The interval is going to be every month. From this date, it will run every month. And I'm going to name it as send monthly enrollment report. I create a workflow. And then I have this instruction here, add an action that needs to be executed on 1st of June, and then 10:10 a.m. And then I click on add new action. I get a list of actions that can be possibly added here. So what we are going to add is, we're going to add a send mail here. So it's going to be under notification section. I click on notification. Then we have send mail here. I click on send mail. And then all you need to do is just a configuration of the send mail. So we are going to send this mail from the admin's email address, from the admin of this account's email address. And we're going to send it to the director of the university. So it is director at university.com. So the subject would be monthly enrollment report. And just add a message, please see attachment below. So what I do is have an option to attach a report here. So with this mail, I'm attaching a report that we have already created for the students that have joined this particular month. I just select students this month, and I can also select how this report is to be shown. It can either be PDF or XLS, CSV, and TSV. So I just choose it to be PDF, and the content type can be either HTML or a plain text. I just choose HTML. I click on save. So that's it. So you have configured a mail that will be sent automatically every month to the director with the list of students dynamically added that month. So this is how simple it is to configure a schedule workflow. So we'll get back to Scott.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about approval workflows, okay? So I started to talk about this earlier. Approval workflows are a kind of workflow. It's a form workflow, but we have this added layer of permission. Someone needs to say if this is allowed or not, if it's approved or denied. So we gave some examples earlier. An employee is requesting some vacation time and their manager has to approve or deny it. We have situations like someone's asking for funding approval for a purchase order. At some point, someone has to approve or deny something, and like I mentioned before, the series of actions will change depending on whether that's approved or denied. Approval workflows are good because they actually allow multiple levels of approval. So it's not just one. If you have maybe a strict hierarchy at wherever you're working, and the employee's manager approves the vacation, but he still has a supervisor that also has to approve it. We can set that up. There's no, as far as I know, there's no actual limitation to how many approval levels you have. I'm not sure how many you could possibly come up with, but yeah, there's no actual limit to how many approval levels you can have. And you can also, as Mukesh has been doing, you can set up notifications. So that employee fills out the form, they request their vacation time. Whether it's approved or denied, we can set it up where they'll get an email or an SMS or something letting them know where they are in the process. So Mukesh is now going to go through an approval workflow with us.
Thank you, Scott. For our approval in this application, what we are going to do is we are going to set up an approval so that every course that is added by an instructor requires an approval from the director of the university. So what I'll do is I'll go to design mode, and then in the form I'll add a status for approval. I'll add a drop down field. And let's name it approval status. And the choices would be pending status, and then approved and rejected. So this is our approval status field that we're going to be updating. So I get back to the workflows tab. So I go to approvals tab, the top. So I click on create workflow. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up approval for the course form whenever a course is added. So I select course as the form, and then I name it as new course approval. And there is an option to select a condition so that you can set up conditions like when it's going to be a free course, only if it's going to be a paid course, we're going to ask for approval. Those kind of conditions can be set up here, but for this case, I'm not going to set up any condition. I'm just go create workflow right away. And then as you can see here, this is a workflow builder, and we have add an approver who will review the records added in the form courses. So I have this option to add a new approver. I add new approver. The options that I have here is I can select a user type directly by entering an email, or it can be a role. So for our case, I'll just go ahead and enter the user. I'll just enter this account for convenience of the demo. We have labels for approval and denial. These will appear as buttons in live mode when the request has been generated. So I leave it as it is to be approve and reject. I click on save approval, and this is what we have got now. We have been added with the first level of approval. We have events for approve and reject. So we have been added with 2 send email tasks automatically, so that whenever a request is approved, an email would be sent to the approved submitter. So let's see what is in that email. So it's an email from the login user, these are deluge variables, Zoho.login user ID. It denotes to the email ID of the user that has logged in into this account. So from the login user ID, it's going to whoever has generated the request to the submitter, and it says approval request, your request has been approved. So a similar email would be sent in the case of rejection, approval rejection. So this is our first task. Like what we'll do is we'll go ahead and update the existing record with the approval status. So I'm adding a new task for approval. If the condition is approved, I'm adding a new task, new action. So in the action, we have sections as data access. So I'm going to update a record. So I select data access and I click on update record. So in the form, it's going to be the courses form. We are going to update the same form. So for our condition, we are going to enter in title equals the input title. What this means is, it means the current record that we have been entering for the request will be selected. So I'm just filtering out this particular record. So this filters out the particular record, and what we are going to be, which field we are going to update is the approval status. Okay, it's here. Approval status. And then I'm going to mark it as approved. So I click on save. I'm going to do a similar thing for the reject scenario. I'm going to add a new data access. I'm going to update the record. The same thing that we have been doing for the approved case. And then I pick on the title equals input.title. So mark this approval status as rejected this time. So I'm going to save it. So we have added the actions. I go back to the live mode of this application where we have courses. So we have this courses. Under all courses, as you can see, the approval status is empty. Now what we are doing is, I'll just go ahead and add a course. Let's say introduction to astrophysics. Let's say it has 6 weeks of course, and science 101. And then the start date could be something from June, future date. Okay. And it is a paid course, and the course is going to cost $49. And then I leave the approval status as it is. I add a record. And I reload the page. As you can see on the, under this record has been added, but you don't have any status, approval status marked yet. So what I do is, we have got on the left we have approvals tab, pending tasks and completed tasks, and we click on pending tasks, and we have a request from the particular record. Your course request is pending for review, and the reviewer has to click on the request, and then he has two options, either to approve or reject the course. I can click on approve and then leave a comment, course approved. So the request has been approved now. So since we have updated the record to be marked as approved, the status has changed to approved here for this record. So it's as simple as that to configure approval process. So what we have left is payment workflows, and over to Scott.
So everything that I said about approval workflows is basically the same for payment workflows, except instead of a person approving or denying a request, it is going to be a payment gateway. So if someone, whatever, they use their credit card and it gets rejected or approved, that is what is going to decide what set of actions happen afterwards. So we currently have 7 payment gateways built into Creator 5, and we have more that are going to be rolled out along the way. But think of approval settings, it's pretty much the same thing. If it's approved, one set of actions. If it's rejected, another set of actions. Payment workflows are useful if you don't want to have to send an invoice to your customers. You just want to get the payment finished as quickly as possible. So, Mukesh is going to show us a payment demonstration.
Yeah, last type of workflows, payment workflows. What we are going to do now is we have a registration for the students. We have a registration form from the students. This is our live application, and then we are going to collect payment right away once the registration form is submitted. So I'm going to set up a workflow, payment workflow. Gateways need to be configured. One is already configured for this, and then I choose the form as course registration. This is the registration form, and related to a field of the amount that needs to be collected with the payment. So that is the fees field, and I name it as collect payment, and I collect this payment on condition where the type of where the fees is not 0. So I collect payment only when fees is not 0. Okay, I'll just change the name. So this is our payment workflow. That it is similar to what we had in approval workflow. We have two events, payment success and payment failure. So on payment success, we can run certain conditions. What we have now is we have a send mail. What we have now is a send mail configured to the whenever a payment is successful, the student gets a mail receiving a confirmation of the payment. So what we'll do is on successful payment, we'll go ahead and add an integration. So what this does is it pushes data to Zoho Recruit. We have a bunch of integrations pre-built here. We'll be building more. I click on Zoho Recruit and I choose a module. Whenever a successful payment is made, the student is being added as a contact. So we just have to map the fields in the current form to the fields in the recruit's contact form. So mark it as last name to last name, and first name as first name. I also push email data to the form. So I'll just mark email. So I click on save. What we have done is we are pushing data to Zoho Recruit on successful payment addition. So I'll show you how this works. Like on successful I'll just add a student. So I'll just pick a course, Saint Theory, and then I'll just enter the fee. So on submit of this form, you'll be redirected to the payment gateway so that the student can enter in his details, enter his credit card, and pay for the course right away. It's as easy as that to set up one payment system. So that is everything with workflows without code.